Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slippery People, our weekly podcast interviewing all of the artists that have walked through, onto, and participated at Sunday Slips. Sunday Slips is an open stage every Sunday, no matter what, at Zoom Krokodil, Weserstraße 19. And this evening, I have the honor of interviewing an artist that is so prolific in many different formats, but also has graced our stage and hosted Sunday Slips when I have been out of town traveling. I am very honored to introduce to all of you BadKat. BadKat, I always ask 3 questions, and until we start going into further interviews with time. My first question for you is, what is your earliest memory or encounter with Sunday Slips?
First time I was at Sunday Slips was in Ligari when it was still the whole building.
I went through a lot of different
Changes.
construction site moments.
And it was when it was in the front room in the back.
The original.
The original place. And I remember, certainly if Winton's ever doing something regularly, I'm generally going to show up.
Yeah, big shout out to Winton Kelly Stevenson.
I'm a big fan. And I didn't really spend any time in comedy shows before I had come to Sunday Slips. That was actually kind of a new experience for me. And in our friend circle, we really value laughter. I mean, in terms of dealing with trauma and dealing with discomfort and trying to just make each other feel better.
Or
We're
like culture shock with moving to a different country.
always using humor as a way to help us relax. And I remember coming to Sunday Slips and feeling like one of the Muppets in the Peanut Gallery. One of the 2 old men that sit up in the balcony and talk trash about everybody the whole time. Definitely felt that about myself. I learned that in that environment at Sunday Slips, where it's like, if you pause too long, I'm going to start making jokes
About
from the
you.
front row. So then I remember having to gradually sit further and further back in the room to eventually where I'm in the other room, because I cannot help but Peanut Gallery, because it's just, humor's such a part of conversation for me. That's always, so yeah, definitely Sunday Slips was pretty immediately like a really fun place to go and feel like there was this nice social, comedic discourse, whether you were on stage or off stage or backstage. That was pretty cool. It was a nice introduction to that scene for me, because I didn't have any time or experience, even just as a human, sitting in a comedy audience.
And I think that was actually quite long ago, because if you're talking about the Ligari days, and we're maybe thinking about 7 years ago, when the Berlin comedy scene in English was quite small. I mean, it's grown a lot and successfully. We appreciate the growth because it always brings more. There's enough space for everyone, and we grow this pond until we're no longer in a pond.
Deep blue sea.
Put me back in the ocean, please. I'm talking to you, New York City.
Mr. Net.
This is a great time to talk about you as an artist for people who don't know you. I obviously know what you do, but for those of us who are watching online or abroad who have not met BadKat, you have music videos, you're a rapper, you're an MC, producer, so much more, please.
Yeah. Well, I've been performing music live since the 90s and started out as a hip-hop MC. Did that for many, many years.
Which is where a lot of comedy comes from, too. If you look at the history of comedy, hip-hop and comedy have always been.
Well, the improvisation ties together so much, and also this perspective of self-humility or even
Humiliation?
Self-humility. Sometimes to build yourself up, you have to be really real about where you're at. So it can often give you that bridge for yourself, especially in an improv context, where whether you're freestyling or making up jokes on the fly, you have to dig into yourself in that moment to really find something of value content-wise. And yeah, so I think comedy and hip hop have always been very close. I even remember in 1998, I was doing a hip hop show, playing a after party for a De La Soul concert, and Dave Chappelle got on stage with
Of
us
course.
and started rapping jokes. And that was so much like a really common thing back then, that you could either be a funny rapper or you could be a battle rapper, like really aggressive and serious, or super metaphorical and deep. Like there was all these spaces.
Or now, mumble rapper.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think over the years I got more interested in music production itself for various reasons.
Mostly not wanting to work with other people.
Yeah,
No,
basically.
let's be honest.
Actually, for me, it was that I wanted to have to depend on men less from within the music industry. That was a big thing, that over the years, 99% of the producers I worked with were males. And eventually it did not speak to my inner self in a way that made me feel whole in my expression as an artist. I needed to be able to tap into my female energy more, to be able to feel and see that in my lyrical content more. And I knew that having time not in the studio with men was going to be very important for me for that process. So over time, I started producing and still performing, started playing bass again recently, which is nice.
Yes.
And been working on other genres for maybe the last, 4 or 5 years, where I'm trying to explore my range a bit more and see what kind of other holistic sounds I can come up with, especially now that I'm producing for myself. So it is really creatively super inspiring that I finally have this new lane to work with that's speaking to myself in a different way.
And the evolution of as an artist, the more as a woman, as a human being, as we age, we tend to find our truth more.
Yeah, so it all was kind of falling in alignment with my independence, just as a person.
She's a great manifester, this one right here. You hear her lyrics, and a few years later, she's like, I've done it. I said it in a song, and now it's real.
That's true.
So
That's true.
Magic is everywhere. Will you tell us about the video that we're sharing this evening?
Sure. It's a teaser for a song called Firing Away. And it is, in general, content-wise, is kind of about liberating myself from being frustrated with the current state of the world and the powers that be, and kind of freeing my own mind for my own empowerment. And
free your mind.
Basically. It's a pretty interesting project. It's all on a new album that I'm producing myself. And I am actually writing the album to be performed as a band. Ooh. So I'm in the process now. I have written...
I'm really good with maracas.
Yeah, keep that in mind. I have written all of the songs that will be on the album, and now I'm going back and recording all the live instrumentation from the different band members that will participate. And I'm working on mixing that and getting it done. So that teaser is basically a solo version of that song. Yeah, we'll shoot the full band version in about a month.
All right. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy the video, and you check out BadKat's work online and follow her links. We'll be sharing them in the commentary below.
World done lost its damn mind, and with it went the people. They calling Mayday, somebody save me from this evil. It's no secret, money pulling all the strings. Well, y'all can keep it, I notice how it changes things. Hear me, people, then tell your people a story about building a keyhole that'll lend more VOE to the glory. Ain't nothing but a keystroke, letting your ego fade on by. No, you don't need them, the better your chances are. The wheel of the wind is taking us all home, no matter how far we've gone, or how far gone. And the spirit within starts whispering, ay, 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 ay. damn mind.
My second question to you is, as you've grown as an artist, as we talk about all this evolution as a human being, as an artist, what would you tell your younger self?
Volumes. I think the first thing I would tell myself is that my circle of friends does not regulate my range of expression. I think that that's really important to understand as a young artist, that no matter what your social circles are and what your immediate influences are, even as an artist in a professional context, that you can't ever allow your brain to limit how you express yourself in the different ways that you want to express yourself based on who is around you. It has to be, those boundaries have to be kind of defined from within, and that there's an importance to registering that freedom for yourself, so that it's not that you're trying to fill a particular space based on the world around you. That if you hear, even if you have the slightest intuition to try something outside of the normal regimen of what your life or lifestyle or social group is, then go for it. Go explore that and see where it takes you also, in addition to maybe what you're already doing.
I think this is very interesting, and it brings to mind when you're young and people are like, oh, what's on your playlist? Can I listen to your music? And then you share your playlist and they judge you. And you know, when you're younger, you have a little bit of embarrassment associated with it, or you don't, you know, depending on who you are and what you've been through. But like my playlist is mostly tango music, and people are just like, what? And I'm like, why? What did you like? So, like, I listen to old tango music.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to being an artist and trying to understand yourself and what you have to offer, that we often regulate ourselves based on what our environment is. And that's where I would say, if you like classical music, try that too. If you like jazz music, try that too. If you like hip hop, keep doing that. If you like something that seems totally out of place, go for it.
Yeah.
Go experience that at least, you know? Don't try and always think you've got to be so singularly focused on where you think you should be, because in the end, it's the culmination of what you can explore and of your own talents.
And you learn your boundaries by exploring, you know, by questioning or by pushing a little thing and finding. And sometimes even the first taste of something isn't perfect, but then you find something that's just like, wow, oh, I do enjoy this.
And I think that that would be a very clear second thing that I would tell myself, is that if there is even the slightest interest in something, even if it's scary or not rewarded by your peer group as being a valid interest, like take it in a very self-mastery way.
Self-mastery.
Yes, if you pick up a guitar and you like how it feels to strum the strings and you don't know anything about it, spend some time to learn the guitar. You can always put it down later and decide, this isn't what I want to spend most of my time doing. But all of those different skill sets down the road, as you accumulate knowledge about each thing, it will greatly impact what you're able to produce later. And that's the thing. I think when I was younger, I had such a short focal point that I was always trying to produce for something very immediately within my context. And I never really understood that I was going to be a musician for 30, 40 years. And I didn't understand the cumulative effect that it can have to really work on multiple skill sets at the same time. And I had seen that happen through some of my other art, where I'm doing visual arts with the video and the graphics and photography. And over the years, just because I had a much more casual approach to that stuff, it still added up, that now I can produce things that I'm really proud of without even having ever felt like I'm focused on this hardcore and this is what I'm about. This is my thing. It was one of my things. And music, because it was my main thing, oftentimes I was a bit nearsighted in understanding how time would give me exponential growth if I allowed for all these parts of me to kind of speak and express itself.
Yeah. Well, to aging, girl.
Yeah.
To aging. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it right.
I'm with it.
We're getting old, but we're getting better. So my third and final question is, what is in the future for the artist BadKat? I hear wedding bells.
Yeah, right. You and me both. Yes, I think at this point in my life, I just know that no matter what I do, I can have a beautiful life. And that's all full circle, all encompassing, that all of the things I enjoy, I have time to make time for them, and I have time to engage actively in different projects and never feeling too constrained that I have to be so singularly focused that I can say, oh, this month or even this year, I'm going to focus on this path with some other subsequent parts, and maybe this month or next month I make more time for this or more time for that. So in the immediate future, I have an album that I'm working on this year that's kind of a mashup between rock and hip hop and electronic and Southern blues.
That's right. So here's a Southern Belle, this one.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still training. I teach boxing and fitness
Shout
stuff.
out to Box Girls.
And that's really a big part of my personal holistic process, is just staying healthy and trying to give myself really physical abilities to keep my brain sharp and active. And also teaching is really a pleasure for me, because every time that I learn to be a better teacher, I learn to be a better human in how to teach and learn myself.
Yeah.
And this has so much to do with my artistic stuff, where it's as I become a better influence or teacher or mentor for other people, I am also developing those skills for myself that helps me be a better creator. And in the end, that's probably the two main things I'm focused on this year, besides my personal life, which is pretty awesome also. Yeah, trying to be a better human all along the way.
And I am going to ask you one more question. You have hosted Sunday Slips.
That's right.
How was that challenge?
Different. It was different. I had done a lot of hosting already. In the US, I hosted, and even out here, when I first came out here, I hosted a lot of hip hop events and producer events and battles, and even Winton and I had hosted some hip hop concerts together. But hosting a comedy show is a little bit different.
But it's more of a mix, like it's not just comedy, because we have burlesquers come
That's
through.
true. That's true. We had a
magicians.
lot of comedians when I
When you
hosted.
hosted, yeah. And it's show up to sign up, so you don't know who's
Exactly.
going to be on
It's
stage.
It was difficult to remember everybody's name, and also I felt this strange pressure to show that I'm a funny person, but I also am so comfortable talking to people that it was like, oh, we're running out of time. I need to speed this up.
It's a 17-hour Sunday Slips.
So I think I think in the first break or two, I was up there for 10 minutes, and the rest of the breaks, I was like 3 seconds. And next, here we go. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, just
At
trying
some
to run them
point-
through.
At some point, you just have to do that. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, God, no.
But definitely always a nice crowd. So whether I'm hosting or in the crowd or hanging out outside, like always fun. You should come by. It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
So that's our episode for today. I hope that you enjoyed Slippery People. We will be coming back to you next week here at the fabulous Wave Dot Studios. We're so grateful to collaborate with you, all of you artists that are joining us on stage. And I'll see you next Sunday with Slippery People.
Someone called.
Sunday Slips.